Yo, 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 what's up, what's up? Say what? About time, yeah, it's about time. So good evening, guys. Welcome to the closing keynote of NullCon 10, or NullCon-AM. Thanks so much to the organizers for having me here. As pointed out, I don't usually speak, not even at Hack in the Box. So they managed to convince me to come all the way over here. So thanks so much to them for inviting me and for pretty much tolerating my story time. So essentially when Antriksh asked me to come and keynote, I said, dude, are you serious or what? I mean, like, what do you want me to talk about, right? And he said, nah, man, just come and talk about anything you want. And I'm like, anything I want? Okay, fine. So let's pull up a chair, man. Pull up a chair. It's going to be fun story times with Dhillon. And essentially, so what is this talk about, right? Like, I was thinking, well, I could talk about AI stuff, which is what I like to talk about, but I'm not really an expert in AI, so perhaps not that. But I've been around in the security industry for quite a long time, like probably about 20 years, kind of shows my age. And so this talk is literally about the changes that we've seen in the security industry, observations from an old hacker, some predictions on where things are headed, and I guess most importantly is all of us, right, the community. What role are we going to play in this scene, or in this industry that we live in? And above all else, I just hope this talk will be interesting and entertaining. I've got like half an hour to fill, I guess. So let's see. Obligatory slide, background information about me in case you guys don't know. I'm the founder and CEO of Hack in the Box. You can follow me on Twitter if you like. I occasionally tweet some interesting stuff. Most of the time, I just retweet Hack in the Box stuff. I used to write code many years ago. Now I write emails. That's my day. I also used to have a job, believe it or not. I used to work in a telco. I've started up multiple different companies. My most recent startup is called Tumpang. It's actually a ride-sharing startup based out of Australia. We ride-share bicycles, basically. I'm an AI ML enthusiast, I would say. I'm not an expert. I try and read up on papers and experiment with stuff. I built like a cat detector. It's called Katamai. You can go and check it out. If you Google it, I'm not sure if the server is still running, but you can check it out. Most of the time I live in Malaysia, although I travel quite a lot. So sometimes I'm in Malaysia. When I'm there, I'm with my two crazy cats called Null and Void, who who are on Instagram, and they actually have way more followers than I do. So if you are interested in cats and you like cats, follow them on Instagram. They're crazy dudes. They like tear all my stuff up all the time. So a little bit of history about Hack in the Box and how I came to actually be doing this thing for the last, 20 years or something like that. Back in the day, so I'm from Malaysia, and actually Hack in the Box, believe it or not, most people used to think we are an American company, but we're not. We're actually Malaysian dudes. And the reason why I started it was basically I'm not from a rich family, and so I don't really have a lot of cash. And going to US for Black Hat, which was like the shiz, right? Everybody wanted to go for Black Hat, DEF CON. I just plain and simply couldn't afford it. So I said to the guys, on my Malaysian crew and stuff, I told those guys, like, hey, how about we try and invite some of the elite speakers, elite researchers, and ask them to come over to Malaysia and present, you know what I mean? And we do a conference, kind of like same feel as DEF CON, same feel as Black Hat, try not to charge so much, make it more accessible. And of course, these guys said, dude, are you fucking crazy or what, man? Like, nobody even knows where the hell Malaysia is, dude. Why the hell would they come? There's no, like, hacker scene in Malaysia. There's pretty much nothing. There's just a bunch of dudes who happen to like IT and technology. And I said, well, if you never try, you never know. And that has essentially been our ethos over the years, right? We just keep doing Hack in the Box and keep trying and see what happens. And we, over the years, as we started out in Malaysia, we did it for like 12 years, but, we expanded to Bahrain, we went to Dubai. We're in Amsterdam, believe it or not, we've been in Amsterdam for 10 years. We're actually celebrating our 10th year anniversary this year. We also expanded to Singapore. And so we've been around, right? We've been around for quite a while. Essentially, I think like 16 plus years. 2002 was probably our first conference that we did, 2002, 2003. So it's like 16 years that we've been running around the world, doing conferences, having fun. So basically, this talk essentially is like some cumulative knowledge, if you want to call it that, observations, I guess in a way I'm very blessed to lead the life that I live. I wouldn't trade it for anything. I love what I do. I love running around and doing Hack in the Box stuff and driving these guys crazy and taking them on like, nuts adventures and shit. And so I guess we'll still keep doing it. I'm 40 this year, but maybe I'll be doing it when I'm 50. And so, let's talk about our industry, right? It's changed, it's evolved. Back in 2003, 2004, 2005, like, the hacker scene, the overall conference scene was very different, right? I mean, people went for conferences. Why? Because like you want to show off bragging rights, I want to show my cool shit. For example, like, world famous guys, Charlie Miller, Chris Valasek, those were the first guys, like car hackers. They took over Jeeps, showed that you could crash it remotely, or at least outside of the car. Pretty cool. There was Barnaby Jack. I'm not sure how many people here remember Barnaby Jack, but yeah. That guy was a freaking rock star, man. Like, and I really miss Barnaby Jack. His jackpotting talk at DEF CON was like the shiz. It was the shiz. I mean, he pretty much went on stage, made an ATM spit out cash, like, whoa, everywhere here. Like, just like in Terminator 2, right? Like, we all know Terminator 2, the movie, good stuff. Like a year later, he did like the insulin pump hack. Also super cool, like how you could actually remotely kill someone. I think it became like a part of like a TV show, made an episode about his research. And that was really cool. And so, it's still, these days, I mean, people still go to conferences to present and obviously to kind of like establish themselves as leading researchers. But at the same time, the attack surface for talks has kind of, or at least for technology, has kind of grown quite wide, right? We used to be talking about car hacking and insulin pumps and stuff, and then now there's people hacking planes and ships, and they're going bigger, higher, faster, better. But also, overall, it's not just about software anymore, but it's also about hardware. We've got a lot of IoT hacking, like people are going back into embedded. What is old is new again. Like, even all of the like old easy bugs from 1990s are kind of like in embedded systems today. So all of your old techniques you can still use. And conferences themselves have also changed, right? Like there used to be a handful of conferences that you go to. Now there are, I don't know, I think Harun Mir did some study a couple of years ago, and there are literally more than 365 security-related conferences happening around the world. So that means that if you were to go to one conference every single day of the year, you wouldn't have enough days in the year to go to all of them. So, we are kind of like in a very interesting position because the community is growing by leaps and bounds, right? And now there's a space for everyone. I mean, there's like a conference for specifically hardware. Hardware I/O, for example, is a very specific conference that's just tailored to IoT embedded hardware engineering. And then, of course, there's conferences like NALCON overall. There's like conferences like Box, DEF CON, Black Hat, CanSec West, all of those guys. But there are also smaller conferences that are happening in like Taiwan, in Hong Kong, for example. There's BEVX. And so, apart from the fact that conferences themselves have evolved, security researchers have also kind of changed, right? And this is mainly due to how the industry has evolved. Back in 2005, 2006, maybe 2004, it was, if you drop a Microsoft 0-day on stage, right, bro, they're going to come and sue you, man. Like, you're going to get a cease and desist, a lawyer's letter. They're not going to give you bounty, man. Like, what the hell, are you crazy? Right? But today, bug bounty is standard. It's a standard practice, right? Selling exploits is standard shit, right? There's lots of people who come to conferences to sell exploits. I mean, like it or not, that's a reality, right? 2007, there was this thing called Wabi Sabi Labi. There was like an exploit marketplace that was developed by some Italian guys. And it failed. It failed tremendously because the industry was pushing back so hard and said, how the hell can you pay people for exploits? Are you crazy, man? Like, you're weaponizing these tools. But fast forward 10 years later, 2017, right? You have ZeroDM, you have CrowdFence, you've got whatever, BugCrowd, HackerOne. I mean, there are all sorts of these bug bounty platforms you can join. As an independent security researcher, you don't have to get a job anymore. You can sit at home, chill out, find some bugs, get some money. I think HackerOne just published, like they just paid 2 guys like $1 million each. Anybody from HackerOne here can verify that? I read about that, I think. Never mind. It's on the internet. But my point is that, as a security researcher, like you go to conferences now, not so much to present and, yeah, look at how cool I am, but you actually go for the networking because the business opportunities are happening in the hallway track, man. They're not happening in the actual track, right? They're not in the conference track anyhow. They're happening outside. And so even within conferences themselves, we now have competitions, right? CanSec West has Pwn to Own, and they're giving away like some serious cash, man. In fact, even Hack in the Box, we're now developing our own internal bounty program. We're calling it Driven to Pwn. But instead of just creating our own program, we're actually inviting all of the industry players together, and we're creating a bounty buffet. Because why not, right? Like, if you're a security researcher, why you want to fly to 10 different conferences, fly to one place, we gather all of the bug bounties together, and then you choose where you want to drop your 0 day, right? So the industry is going to change. It's going to keep changing, right? And it is constantly evolving. And the only constant is pretty much how you're going to be, what role are you going to play with that? And overall, from the research standpoint, it used to be that most of the research that you see comes out of the US, right? It's American researchers, or maybe they're Israeli researchers, or they're European researchers, right? But in, I would say, maybe 2015, somewhere around there was a sudden uptick in the amount of Asian hackers that were submitting papers to conferences. So for example, like Hack in the Box, we get something like 12-1 talk to slot ratio. So for every slot that we have 12 submissions. And we suddenly saw that there was a huge uptick in the amount of Chinese research. And the quality of the research is like phenomenal, super phenomenal. But this kind of like makes sense, right? Like China has a huge population. If 1% of the people are geniuses, that's still a significant number. And the main thing that is, I think, in my opinion, holding back Chinese researchers is the fact that English is not their first language. So sometimes when they come and present, a lot of the attendees will say, dude, I can't understand what the hell this guy is saying, man. Like, he's got a really strong Chinese accent. And I'm like, well, don't judge it from how he speaks, right? Judge it from his slides, judge it from the white paper. Because essentially, if I ask you to go on stage and speak in French or speak in Arabic, like, yeah, good luck. I mean, there's only one French dude here who will probably be like, yeah, no problem, I'll rock it, which is Jonathan Brossard, man. But, it's not fair to judge people on the ability to convey in a language that's not their first language. That's just plain and simple, right? And conferences in China, security conference researchers have their pick. I mean, there's so many conferences. We went to ISC, which is the Internet Security Conference Symposium. I can't remember what the title is. It had 25,000 people. It was like a freaking stadium. It was nuts, man. Like, it was literally nuts. It was like going to a Tiesto concert or something. It was like the amount of light and magic that they had put in, it was phenomenal. And because we see so many papers from Chinese researchers and we see this uptick, we decided, hey, we should bring Hack in the Box and go to China, right? I mean, it makes sense, right? Not fair, always ask them to come out. Why don't we go there? And so we did. And we went to Beijing last year. It took a hell of a lot of effort and a hell of a lot of work, but thankfully, fingers crossed, everything went well. And we had like some insane number of people actually tune into our live stream. So for example, we normally live stream our talks, at least our ComSec track or our community track. On average, we'll get, I don't know, concurrent view, maybe 2,000 people, and we'll be like, wow, 2,000 people are watching our track, man. We are the shiz. We went to China, 270,000 people concurrently watched the stream. So we were like, whoa. And so it's really interesting to see how how things change, and it's going to surprise you in ways that you couldn't imagine, But India is obviously not to be outdone, right? We've got a bunch of like super rock stars or Bollywood stars in India. And so the dude on the left, I mean, Mr. Salman Shah, man, he's been the god of exploitation since, I don't know, 1999 maybe. Even way before anything, he was the guy who was always doing exploit lab. And now he's hacking ARM. And then we have Anto Joseph. Is Anto in the room? That guy is a friggin' rock star, man. Like, he looks like a rock star as well. And I mean, he's doing lots of cool stuff in AI, and much respect to him. He even runs the AI village in DEF CON. We're trying to get him over to come to Amsterdam and like help me out because I'm supposed to run the AI village in Amsterdam. But we also have Ravi. I mean, that guy is GSM hacker #1, man. He's like broken all sorts of GSM protocols, LTE, mobile. He's the man. I expect he'll be breaking 10G when it comes out. Trust Ravi to be the guy who find an exploit in it. We've got Rahul Sasi. Is Rahul here? Not here. Never mind. Rahul, Sasi, and the CloudSec team have done really, really good work. I think they just raised their second round of funding, so big up to them. It's not easy establishing yourself, starting a new company. Obviously, seeking funding is in itself a big deal, and it's hard. So congrats to them. I think they're doing some really good stuff. And of course, let's not forget these guys, right? These rock stars, right? Please give them a big round. I mean, without Antrix, Murtuja, and Asim, the founders of Nalcon, essentially I wouldn't be standing here. None of you guys would be sitting here. So if you haven't said thanks to them or haven't bought them a beer, now's as good a time as any to do it, man. 10 years, these guys, they rock. Big up to them. They're also the guys who started Hardware I/O, and now Hardware I/O is like the de facto go-to conference for hardware hacking. I mean, it is. That's just a fact. You know what I mean? It's not debatable. Hardware I/O is the place. And of course, they're doing great work with IoT. I mean, Asim Jaka is doing some fantastic stuff with IoT. In fact, they're planning to run an IoT village in Amsterdam at Hack in the Box. So come and check that stuff out. It's going to be fantastic. And so, if all the researchers from the past have been kind of like focusing on various big hacks and stuff, where do I think the research is going to be focused on, say, over the next 2 or 3 years? Excuse me. First of all, I would say definitely cars. Automotive security. Okay, I'm just going to have a drink of water while these dudes come in, okay? All right. So, why cars? I'm guessing most of us here drive, right? No? Yes? Probably. Yeah, okay. So, we all have cars. Pretty much cars are now nothing more than computers on wheels. Look at BMW, for example, right? It's essentially fully automated, fully computerized. If something in the ECU is screwed up, you can't even start the damn car. There's no more key, everything push start, right? It's going to probably be, maybe it's going to be biometric in the future, I don't know, right? We also have the whole self-driving car thing that's going to just around the corner, right? And self-driving cars in themselves are going to bring a huge, huge, huge set of problems. Number one, there's obviously all the technology that's being put on top of these cars, right? They're all systems and they're all like AI, they're all black box, which means nobody really knows how the hell it works. You put some data inside, some magic happens, and then voila, you have some stuff that happens on the other side, right? And of course, there's the moral, ethical dilemma as well. I mean, there's this whole discussion of like, let's just say a self-driving car is driving down the road. There's an old lady and a young baby. The car won't be able to stop in time. Who does the car hit? Or who's going to get killed, right? I don't know. I have no idea, man. Like, how the hell do you even program that? How the hell do you even model that, right? From an AI standpoint, well, how do you get the data to even build an AI that can decide that kind of decision? So, automotive security is not going to go anywhere. It's going to get even worse if you think about it. In fact, at CanSec West this year, in like 3 weeks' time, you can literally go there and drop an exploit against a Tesla and you'll win it. They are giving you a Tesla. I mean, they're going to give away the car. Because why? Like, they can't solve this problem themselves, right? They're going to depend on all of us to help figure it out. And most of the researchers are going to be, well, automotive industry. These guys have a lot of cash, man. Screw the bug bounty, man. Like, I want to have payout, maximum payout. And the car companies are more than happy to pay. I mean, like, Daimler, BMW Group. I mean, those guys are multi-billion-dollar companies, man. If you solve this problem, great. They'll be more than happy to pay you. Of course, blockchain, right? Smart contract. Everybody's talking about this shit like it's the best thing ever. Dude, it's nothing more than a database, man. A lot of times you could just use a fucking database and problem will be solved. No. Blockchain. Smart contract, yo. Why? Because it sounds cool, right? Same thing with the cloud. Like back in the day when the cloud came up, we had like 2009, I think, Harun Mir again came up with the cloud clobbering talk, how you could jump from VM to VM and escape the containers. Nobody gave a fuck. Nobody actually listened to it. And in the end, like now today, everybody is like talking about cloud security, containerized, this, that, the other, and stuff. And so blockchain is going to be following that exact same timeline, I would say. Same thing with smart contracts as well. Bernard Mueller, Matt Swish, these guys are like the rock stars right now of Ethereum. In Singapore, Jordan Seed presented something about hacking smart contracts. In Amsterdam this year, we even have a contest. It's actually run by the guys from HitCon, and they're going to be doing like a smart contract hacking contest. We even had Amber Balde, so JP Morgan is like spending a hell of a lot of money on blockchain and kind of like figuring out how they're going to do the financial side of things with blockchain. So she came over and keynoted. And basically, I expect we're going to see a lot more attacks against smart contracts, ICOs, pretty much anything that's blockchain based. And the reason why, right, is because people are stupid, right? They're going to just deploy this shit, like double click, next, done. Nobody's going to actually spend the time to engineer it or actually think about, do we really need a blockchain, right? Most often than not, like I said, it's a database. You don't really need it. It's much easier to secure a database than it is to secure some shit that you do not understand. But nobody's going to listen. It's going to be the same old shit again. It's going to be like the cloud. And, you know, if you want to know where to focus your research, smart blockchain, smart contracts, reverse engineering the soft code on that would be where you should be looking at. And of course, my favorite, man, the AI. AI is, well, you know, everybody says AI is going to put us all out of work and stuff. Like, that's bullshit, man. AI is nothing more than math, right? If you're afraid of math, there's something wrong with you, dude. Like, I mean, seriously, it's just gradient descent. That's it. Mathematics, nothing else. The AI in itself is going to help and going to change certain areas, but they're not going to like revolutionize the whole bloody industry. You know, we're not going to get general AI. At least not in my lifetime. I don't know, maybe in yours it might, but you know, I'm old, so I don't think it's going to happen. And of course, there's lots of areas that if you want to get into AI, and security, like where do you apply it, right? Where are you gonna focus on, right? There's lots of areas. There's like malware analysis, obviously now it's huge. Traffic analysis is another one. Automated security testing. There's a company called WallArm out of San Francisco. They're like doing a lot of stuff in AI. Obviously, CloudSec, as I mentioned earlier, also has a lot of AI stuff. And then there's, you know, the AI for public security, right? For applied to population at large. What am I talking about? China, facial recognition. I don't know. I'm sure you guys watch Black Mirror. How many people here watch Black Mirror? Yeah, I love that show, man. Black Mirror is the bomb, man. And so, and we look at Black Mirror and you think that's some scary shit. China is literally doing it, man. They've got a credit rating system that uses facial recognition. They've denied, I don't know, 1,000-something people from buying flights because they were bad actors or they just, I don't know, they're just assholes basically. So the government decided, no, you don't get to go overseas, you don't get to go overseas. And this is going to be applied across the board. More governments are going to do it as well. I mean, like just because China does it doesn't mean nobody else is going to do it. UK has the most number of CCTV cameras in all cities. I mean, London, I think, is the most CCTV cameras in the world. Just because they're not telling you they're doing it doesn't mean they're not doing it, right? Think about that. Right? Just because the government doesn't tell you they're doing it doesn't mean they're not already doing it. They're probably already implemented it. They're probably tracking everybody based on facial recognition across the city, across multiple cameras. They're probably triangulating it with your GSM data, with your, you know, cell phone strength. It's being done, bro. Like, you guys are everybody's being watched. This is just the reality of the industry that we live in, right? And like, the sooner that we all realize this, the better. And there's obviously AI on device is going to be another interesting thing because, like I said, all of the AI right now is black box. Nobody actually knows how the hell it works. There was one paper by Professor Kang Lee. He's from University of Georgia. He also worked on the DARPA Cyber Grand Challenge stuff, so he's like the AI guy, right? And he talked about how do we reverse engineer the models and try and understand from a technical level what's actually going on inside it. And this is going to change a lot of stuff as well because companies don't want that black box to be analyzed, right? Like NVIDIA doesn't want people to know how their self-driving car works. But for us, as a security researcher, this is what we need to do. We need to reverse engineer this stuff because we can't trust the companies to audit it. It's a proven fact. They don't bloody bother, man. They're just going to deploy it. And then until somebody gets killed or some major shit happens, oh, now we need to fix it. So it's our job as security researchers to keep everybody on their toes, right? To keep the check and balance in place. That's what we're here for. That's why we are hackers. We push the envelope. We don't take things for granted and say, oh, just because it says on the box secure, that it's secure. We test. And then we verify and we make sure that, okay, we're fairly happy with the results. Great. So you want to know where to focus on? Those are the three areas that I think. Automotive security, blockchain smart contract, AI. You focus on these three areas, you will definitely not be out of a job. You will be well employed for quite some time. And so, if essentially everything changes, people, technology, culture, one thing though that I think really hasn't changed is that essentially security is not a technology problem. It's a people problem, right? So how do you solve a people problem? Education, right? Teaching, training. And essentially, we, as in the world, has been using the same old teaching methodology for, I don't know, the last 200 years, right? Kids today, they have an iPad at 3 years old or 4 years old. So before they can even speak, they're like navigating stuff, doing stuff. Back in my day, there were books. There was no Wikipedia, there's no YouTube, right? You couldn't just learn stuff from the internet. You had to actually take this big book, look it up, read it. And we're still using the same kind of testing methodologies, right? If you look at schools in general, what do we ask them to do? Read the stuff, just memorize it, come to an exam, spit it back out, and then I'll grade you on it. It means you learnt it. No, it doesn't mean shit, bro. It just means you memorized it, man. You're not actually learning anything, right? And so, what do we need to do? We kind of need to change the way we teach, right? We're still doing the same old shit and then expecting different results. That's damn stupid. We're going to have the same problems in 20, 30 years from now, right? If people, generally, the kids these days are not trained or at least to think differently and to think creatively, we're kind of doomed, basically. And so, I think, essentially, we need to teach kids the way kids learn and not expect kids to learn the way we teach. And so that's kind of like the main problem that I think right now, right? And how do kids learn? They learn by experimentation, trial and error. You fall down, you get back up, you graze your knee, oh, you touch this thing, it's hot. Ooh. That's how kids learn, right? But yet we still expect for them to go to a school and that the government and the schools are going to solve all of this problem. But they're not, right? They are obviously going to be playing catch up. And so this is why at Hack in the Box we started our own initiative called Hack in the Class, which is it's a foundation actually, it's a Dutch foundation. And its aim is actually to teach kids the hacker mindset. So the way of problem solving by pretty much breaking a big problem down into bite-sized pieces and then, solve it as you go along. But we also teach them programming, we teach them a bit of robotics, some security challenges, a bit of CTF for them. And at the end of the day, what we're trying to do is to inspire the kids to be more passionate about science, technology, math. And at the end of the day, right, our security industry is so large, right? All of us don't need to be, or at least the next generation of kids don't all need to be HD Moore, reverse engineers, and the best, bug hunters or whatever, right? We need all sorts of people in the industry. And essentially, we're never going to move the needle in a significant way if we don't invest the time and energy in educating the next generation, in finding new ways to test their knowledge. So, exams are freaking stupid. I mean, when I was in school, I hated exams because, it's, what the hell, man? This is, not really that interesting yet. I still need to learn it. I don't really understand it. And I think we should just change the way we evaluate kids, right? You say you know Kung Fu. Show me your Kung Fu, bro. Don't tell me about it. Show me. Show it to me, right? Demonstrate it. That's probably going to be a much more effective way, right? And essentially, if I don't have kids, but if you do, education starts at home, right? The onus is on you. You can't really depend on the schools and, as I said, the government to kind of teach your kids, man. They're going to be in super competitive environment, so you kind of need to inspire them in whichever way you can, right? So I think teach your kids two things, right? Creativity, problem solving, the hacker way, as in not giving up. And if you never stop, you will always succeed because it only comes to an end when you say it comes to an end. There's no such thing as the end. It's when you decide, okay, I don't want to do it anymore, then it stops. So I think if you teach your kids that, it will probably put them in a good state. And the industry, this is for all the companies here, right? You guys have an expectation that the education system is going to produce graduates that are like Neo from the Matrix. Going to get them, deploy them. Tomorrow I'm going to make money. This guy's going to solve all my problems, man. Rockstar hacker is going to be joining my company. Unfortunately, the universities are producing noobs, right? They need training. They can't join your company immediately because they come in, they don't know anything. It's like, what you learn in school? Yeah, I learned this. Show me. Cannot do. Oh no, we have to sign up for training, right? But what's an easier way of doing this, I think, is through CTFs. Like there was a CTF over here, right? And CTFs are a great way of, for companies at least, to evaluate skill. Because at the end of the day, it's like Kung Fu, right? You say, you show lah. Right? Don't just tell me about it. I don't need to read your CV, dude. I really don't give a damn. I don't care what you went to school and studied because I know the education system is broken, it's shite. So join a CTF. I'll take the top 3 teams and I'll say these guys are the rock stars, right? And so HR actually, in general, I think in part of the interview process probably should incorporate some kind of like a CTF or some kind of like a testing, right? We see companies come to Hack in the Box all the time and for recruitment because talent pool is so scarce. Everybody's trying to fight for like the best guys because they want to deploy them as fast as possible. And we see most companies come to CTF to do exactly what I just said, like pick up the top 3 teams. Hey, come, we have a beer. And, hey, come, I talked to you at the side. We got this cool product that we're working on. Come and join our team. Like, A team players want to work with A team players, right? We don't like working with B team guys. It sucks, man. You're going to carry the weight of all these dumbasses. So use CTFs to evaluate and to test. And even this is actually why we started EDU CTF. So, because we saw that the universities are kind of like just dumping out the graduates, at a certain point, they will either they take the initiative themselves or not. And the ones that do are very, very few. So you have a bunch of graduates who are just bouncing around, trying to figure things out. Hopefully some company is going to train them. And so we say, okay, let's do EDU CTF, okay? So we create like kind of like a bridge where we go to the high schools, we go to the university, we have Hack in the Class, that's for like the younger kids. But what about like 16, 17, 18, or whatever, 17, 18, 19, colleges, universities, and kind of like evaluate the students, kind of enable the companies in a way, or at least industry as a whole, to earmark, okay, so these students have a lot of potential. We need to create opportunities so that they don't go astray, or at least they're not lost in the system. So we created EDU-CTF for that. That way then we can measure. Like you go to the school, you go and do a simple Japanese-style EDU-CTF, you top 2, top 3, we bring you, you now compete in professional CTF against, rock star guys that have flown in for a prize pool. And then you actually be able to evaluate. I mean, let's just say it's a Japanese-style CTF, you need to solve a challenge. If a professional hacker can solve it in 5 minutes, and then a student comes around and solves it in 3, dude, immediately, I already know this guy is better than that guy, right? It's a very easy way to measure, and it's cheap. It's almost free. There's so many CTFs online that companies can use, or you can use, you can practice on. And you really should, because it works, and it's fun, and it's a great way to learn, because you learn by doing, you don't learn by watching YouTube videos. You actually have to, do it yourself, man. So, companies, if you haven't already looked at deploying a CTF as part of your recruitment process, evaluate it. It's not that hard, man. And actually, if you're expecting a different result, then try this out, and then you come back and tell me how it worked, because I expect that you will actually find that it was freaking amazing. I don't believe in this. Okay? I don't believe that, we're born, we go to work, and then we die. That sucks, man. And I turned 40 this year, as I mentioned earlier. And I don't know, maybe some switch went off in my head or something, but I suddenly feel like, oh, I'm damn old, man. Shit. Like, time's running out. I better do stuff. And I see in the audience here, there's a lot of young guys, you know what I mean? Like, a lot of you guys are probably just either starting out in security career, maybe you're going to start your security career, maybe you're halfway through. But I would say median age group here, probably 28, 29, just looking at the audience, right? And so, I believe we're all here with a purpose, as in we have something that we're here to do, right? And we're not just here to go to work, come home, and then that's it, finish, right? And so, I guess, if there was 3 or 4 things that I would have told myself, like my younger self, or when I was around your age, 25, 26, 27, when I thought I was the shiz, man, I know everything, bro. This would be like essentially the 4 things that I would have told myself. It doesn't work. I told myself nothing. Let me try. The internet, I think, is down. Okay. Cool. Fuck it. I'll give you these first three things first. Number one, learn more, right? Learn everything you can, man. Like whatever the hell it is that you care about. You want to learn how to cook? Learn it. You want to learn how to paint? Learn it. You want to learn Python? Learn Python. But learn. Never, ever stop learning, right? Just keep learning. Keep learning every damn thing that you can, right? Well, I'm constantly learning. I mean, every single day I learn something new. So, don't ever stop learning. Teach more. Share your knowledge. Share what you guys know. You might say, I don't know anything. That's bullshit, bro. You definitely know something. And teach. Because the best way to learn is by teaching. If you try and teach somebody something, you will actually learn as you're teaching them. So teach more, right? And, how to teach. You could go to conferences. You can present. Come on stage here. Share some ideas. And you're like, oh, I'm scared, man. I don't want to go on stage, man. Okay, that's fine. Join a hackerspace. Don't have a hackerspace? Make a hackerspace. Oh, too much work. Okay, forget, man. Go to school. Any of the schools that's in your neighborhood, volunteer your time. Teach a class. Tell them, hey, teach you how to, I don't know, install some software. I still don't want to do that, man. I have to leave my house and shit, I just like staying at home. Okay, fine. No problem. Write an article. Write a blog post, how to install TensorFlow. I don't know, whatever, man. Just write. Just output some content. Even better, make a YouTube video, because everybody loves YouTube videos, right? Include some cats in there. Sure, get a lot of views. Right? Make a video. Just make some content. Put some papers out there. Just keep sharing what you know, right? And above all else, you have to love what you do. And you have to be proud of what you produce. And if you do it with love, it will show. Look at Nalcon. It wouldn't be half the conference it is if the volunteers and crew didn't love the conference and love what they're here to do. And it shows. It really shows, because they love it. It's fantastic. And don't compete with anyone else but yourself. When we started Hack in the Box, we wanted to bring Black Hat and DEF CON to Malaysia. And after a while, we kind of like, well, that's not actually what we wanted, you know what I mean? We just wanted to create something like that. And so over the years, we just stopped measuring. We stopped competing with anybody else. We don't give a fuck what other conferences are doing. We only measure against ourselves. Are we doing a better event than what we did last time? As in, have we raised the bar for ourselves? Because at the end of the day, we only measure against ourselves. We don't give a damn what other people are doing. There will always be smarter people, richer people, driving better cars, living in a better house. Fuck them. Literally, fuck them, man. Focus on yourself, right? Focus on yourself. Always compete with yourself, because that's really all that matters, right? And don't ever give up. Like, when somebody tells me, hey, that one cannot be done, man, I'm like, fucker, hold my beer. Do not let anybody tell you that things cannot be done. It cannot be done because they are unwilling to do it. If you put your mind and your heart into anything, you can achieve it. And like I said, nothing ever comes to an end until you say it comes to an end. There's no ending. Everything just continues. There's no start, there's no end. It's just a continuous cycle. And so if you focus on these three things and you do everything that with conscious effort and with love, you will get there. And that's pretty much it, man. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you, guys. I hope to see some of you guys in Amsterdam this year. But if not, and if Antrix and Asim invite me back, I will see you guys at Nalcon 11, guys. Hack on. I love you guys. Enjoy the conference. Enjoy your life. Do the best. Be the best. Rock it.